Hey, oh, I think, oh, snap. Oh, snap. I think we did it. I think we did it. Fantastic. Okay. If anyone's out there, hello. Hey, there we go. There we go. Oh, perfect. Now I can keep an eye on chat this way. All right, got chat pulled up there. Chat pulled up on Twitch. Let me actually go to my Twitch. Okay. And there we go. All right, everything's set up on Twitch. And there we go. Mute myself so I don't get the double. All right. If you are watching, hello. Thought I would do a set review of set 12, as I've been curious about a lot of these cards. Let's see. Sorry, just making sure I'm answering. I've seen all the cards. I haven't really taken time to like stop and think about each of them, so we're going to do that now. Feel free to leave your comments and chat along as well. Let me know if there's something that you see that I didn't see. All right, and obviously I'll skip over some like Woody because it's just a vanilla. There's nothing to say about him. All right, so who do we got? Goslin Mallard, uninkable. Stats of a Simba. You can tell my brain's still in like set 1. Like, oh, stats of a Simba. Play this character. You may rate chosen character with cost 2 or less. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Little protection for something like your Lilo, your Daisy, any Grandmother Willow, even. Not that you probably want to quest with her too much. It is uninkable, though. So, like, it is a cool card to help aggro, as it helps protect the small stuff, but being uninkable, that deck's already so high on uninkables. That deck's already so high on uninkables that we recommend that you use a stream bitrate of. Sorry, my YouTube's yelling at me about bitrate health. I don't care about that. YouTube, can they hear me? Can they see me? That's all that matters. Let me make sure I'm coming through in here. Yeah, all right. Back to the cards. Come on. Quit bugging me with this stuff, YouTube. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Okay. Where are the cards? Here we go. Monterey. So yeah, Goslin just. I just don't know why it's uninkable. I don't think it needed to have that. Granted, I guess they could. Well, I don't know, but the stats of a 2 cost have been going up, right? 3/3. I don't want to overspend on the first card. Monterey Jack plays character reveal top card of deck. It's character. Okay, so it's kind of like that's just worse Nani, right? Like, Nani is inkable. She checks the top 4. Granted, she only looks for small characters, so Jack does technically just look for any character, but it's also the top card of your deck, so it's easier to whiff if you have non-character cards in there. And again, he's uninkable with Daisy stats and not even the extra lore. This is just one of those cards you're just like, why is this uninkable? Like, I don't know if you'd play this even if it was inkable. I mean, I guess it could be a guaranteed like replace itself in a character vomit deck, but with cards like Nani, it just makes no sense. Woody, there's our shift target. Dale, when you have a character named Chip in play, gets +1. So this one I do think is kind of interesting. It's boring, obviously. It's not very exciting. It's very straightforward. But man, 6 health, that can be a lot, especially since Ruby hasn't been around in a long time to prey on these low strength characters. So potentially I could see this team play just because the health is so high. And a 6 health 2 lore quester, not terrible. Of course, you have to get the chip in. Pedro, I feel like I don't remember what any of these Madrigals do. This character is played with 1 damage. If you have another Madrigal in play, you may move. Huh. And it's specifically when you play him. So if you have a Madrigal on 1, he basically enters as a 2/3/3. That's very weird. Like, we have 2 cost 3/3s now that just are just those cards, which have replaced illusions, by the way, which was a terrible design decision because it's like, cool way to make a card like Raja meaningless when you just power corrupt it. But regardless, so you jump through all these hoops to get a generic 2 cost 3/3. Obviously, if you're playing a deck that benefits from damage, you still have cards like Ohana. Those aren't as prevalent now. And this is only 1 damage. I don't think you want to waste an Ohana on a card like this. Very strange. So this is just support. Yeah, generic. Eleni Dale, Singer 4, so a normal 2 cost from sets ago. Singer 4. Yeah, you'd probably rather have something like Ursula, since she has more health, but he can kind of challenge a little more efficiently, or if someone attacks him, he takes him out. Eric, just generic. Okay. Good thing we made all those reprints in Fabled just so we could power creep them. Dolores, plays character, look at chosen opponent's hand. I do kind of like Dolores' whole, oh, well, she spies on people or she has really good hearing, so a lot of her cards always tend to have to deal with your opponent. Still, this is just your 5/5 vanilla, just with, yeah, you get a hand peek, but that's it, so that won't see any play. Rex, this is our first Pixar card? First Toy Story? No, I mean, not counting the Woody, so. Bodyguard, during opponent's turn, his character's man. Yeah, so kind of like a new version of Donald. He's a 2 cost, too. That's pretty neat. I quite like this card. It sucks that he will die to anything, so they can run their cheapest character into him, but it's still 1 challenge worth of protection. Because he hits for 3, he'll likely take out whatever he hits, and he gets a lore off of it. And it's because it's any time he's banished. Like, if it was specifically banished in a challenge, I think he'd be a lot worse because there's a lot of ways to pick him off, especially with steel decks. So yeah, I think, I like him for what he is. I don't know if we'll see play. Ham, pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. So it's kind of like Huey. I don't remember if it's Huey, Dewey, or Louie, but whichever one is uninkable, quests, and then you get the reduction. So this one is worse in the sense that you don't get the lore out of it, you don't quest, and you still have to have the downside of exerting, so you expose yourself. But he is inkable, unlike that Huey, Dewey, or Louie. So I could see it being a replacement. It's like, I just want the inkable. I don't care about the lore that much, and I'm basically doing the same effect. So yeah, I could see Ham seeing play just off the fact that he's inkable. Monterey Jack, 2 uninkables. Also, why does this character get 2 cards? With 4 or more in play. An 0/3 quest for 3. Yeah. I mean, 3 lore is a lot. I mean, you can easily build a deck as stats get bigger too over the time frame, which is another reason removal gets worse because the stats are going up. You could do Monterey Jack into Monterey Jack into Monterey Jack. So I don't think his condition will be that difficult to meet. I would imagine if you're running this card, especially as an uninkable, you're building around it to get to that point. Will it see play, though? Probably not. Just probably, I mean, I feel like those decks have never really struggled for lore, but maybe if you just really want that lore burst. But he's uninkable. All right, Bo Peep. Woody Game Bodyguard, that's very specific. Meh, boring. When you play this character, you may return a character with 4 strength or more from your discard to your hand. And Dales get +5 strength. This obviously is going to go well with this Legend Dale here. Kind of sucks he's uninkable. I wonder if this could have been inkable. Like, he's very understated. It's very specific. He's so specific. And that's something I feel like Ravensburger's never really understood, is like, this card is already very specific. It has very so I think it's okay that it's inkable because you can't just jam chip anyway. I mean, I guess you could, as long as you have high health characters. Technically, he is generic in that sense. His second effect is Dale. So maybe, I don't know. Did that really need to be uninkable? That's the theme of all my card reviews, isn't it? Just like, hey, did that need to be uninkable? Probably not. But I don't know. Let me know if you see chip differently. If you go in on this Dale, though, because the Dale does seem really good, maybe you do run chips to recur him. Woody, our first legendary 5-cost uninkable. This card is very interesting. The first effect is just bonkers. So you're questing, you're getting to lore, you just generically draw a card, no conditions attached, and then you can play a character of cost 2 or less for free. And specifically because the order of it, you could, if you don't have that character, you could potentially draw into it. Like, wow, that effect is just absurd. His Everyone Gather Around toy characters is like fine. That might be more relevant than we realize if cards like Bullseye or Jesse end up being really strong, and then suddenly all these toys are just that much harder to deal with. And it obviously feeds into a card like Dale as well. So, I mean, potential on Woody is absolutely nuts. Granted, I do think he's going to be best when you shift him, because if you shift him on, you go Woody up here, whatever your 2-cost is, Woody, maybe Rex, Woody, immediately shift, boom, play. Imagine you play Rex for free, now Woody's protected, and the Rex at least has 1 more health, not that that's going to help Rex much. That seems so powerful. Like most Floodborns, if you have to wait to play this on 5, and it's a card that basically does nothing the turn you play it unless you have toys in play, That's going to be a lot slower, and it's going to be a lot easier for them to deal with it at that point because they're going to have much higher removals. So I imagine if this Woody sees play, it's going to be all about going in on the shift line because 5 seems very slow because he won't get to do anything till turn 6. But man, that shift, that seems so strong. I could absolutely see this card being a menace and stealing games. Singer 5, gain a lore. Okay, I guess that kind of goes in with the Madrigal, but it's also when you play him, so you'd have to play them both. So you'd have to have 5 ink. Huh. Bullseye. Specifically Woody or Jesse. I mean, a 2-cost 4/3, stats of a fox, can't attack right away. Yeah, so if you go Woody 1, Bullseye 2, you've got this 4/3 beater, and then Woody comes in again. That seems like a pretty solid line. Let's see. That was character quests. If you played another character's turn. Yeah, they've been trying to do this like must force quest effect. It hasn't really picked up yet, but maybe it just hasn't been on a card good enough to make you want to do that. Again, the only thing is this is very slow. You play it on 4, it does nothing. So turn 5, it specifically has to quest. So if you're behind and you need to challenge or singer, then you're not getting its effect. Interesting idea. I do like the art on it, but yeah, I doubt that'll see much play. Isabella. For each damage, okay, so it's just like an upgraded version of this. Can obviously shift onto it as well. I would like to believe there's some kind of cool damage shifting lore gain deck. I don't know if there's enough here for that to be a thing, but it's an interesting idea at least. And it's not just on play, it's just whenever that happens. So if you can, because 6 is expensive for this though, damn. That's a lot. Like I can't imagine spending all 6 of your ink on this and then you still somehow have the power to heal a bunch of damage. Maybe if Dinglehopper was still around. That one got rotated, didn't it? So Jesse, whenever this character play. Okay, so it's like that Stitch we got recently, the 5-cost Stitch, but just for toys specifically. You pay 2. Oh yeah, this is the one that makes them all cheaper. And so it's anytime you pay 2 or less to play a card. And I would assume that counts singing, even though it technically says pay, but it says or less, right? So if you're singing, you're getting it for free. Does that work with any singing? Like if you sing a card, it's or less, right? When you pay 2 ink or less, if you are singing a card, you're not paying any ink, right? Does that trigger any song? So it's the generic Amber Rhino effect where you shrink stuff, but I mean, man, you could potentially shrink a lot of stuff, and if they have to challenge into you to like stop you, yeah, that could be a pain. I could see that, and then she's threatening card draw, so you want to answer her. She's probably gonna be a little slow the turn she comes down, but she's so cheap anyway. So yeah, there's potential here with Jessie. I'd be curious to see how she does. Okay, so this is just a toy. Put in your hand. I don't remember Andy's room being that great, but we'll see. Seems fine if you're doing a toy list. Dale, definitely worth talking about. During challenges, your characters deal damage with their willpower instead of their strength. That is a really neat effect. It will definitely flip a lot of these aggro decks. Could make a lot of them menace. There are a lot of cards like, I think the old Prince is a 0/5, which now basically makes him a 5/5 with the Dales in play, which is kind of dumb. Woody essentially becomes a 5/5. And it's not like it flips their stats, right? It's not like, well, Woody now becomes a 5/1 and he's super easy to kill. No, they just deal damage in challenges with their willpower. So Dale essentially acts like a 4/4. If there was ever a reason to need good Ruby cards to just blow up all these low strength characters, this is your reasoning. So yeah, Dale seems quite strong. I can see this being very obnoxious, and he's inkable. So that's just all the better. Yeah, because most of those decks, think of like a Tramp, and I know Tramp will be rotating one set, but 2/6. So now you can't just trade into the Tramp and keep your own characters around. The Tramp's whacking everything that runs into him for 6. That's nutty. So yeah, I'll be quite surprised if this card doesn't make an impact, because it just seems solid. Generic aggro. Okay, here's one of your engine pieces. It's nice she's a 1-cost too, so you can get her on early, play some of these others, maybe get her husband in, he heals himself, not that you even care about that. I think that's her husband, isn't it Pedro? Or is it Augustin? Who is Pedro? Family Patrick. Oh, that's the grandmother's husband. Okay. But you get Isabella in, and then you can start removing damage, gaining a little. Okay, interesting. Again, I see an idea here. It probably won't be good enough because they rarely are, but let's see. Pluto. He's got a quest to do it. That's okay. Feeds in to all that extra. It's continuous. I don't know if that's better than Jesse. It's a little quicker. He still has to quest to do it. And you have to play another character. Okay, it's not just on quest. But I mean, you're probably going to be playing a character in aggressive. I mean, maybe. Sometimes that strength reduction matters, especially when you have to challenge your way out of these things. And it always enables, as we've seen with Della's Moon Lullaby, like it enables things like Under the Sea. So, maybe. This character may interplay exerted whenever one. Okay, so basically the same thing, just better. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's optional. Kind of gives you that bodyguard effect, so you can play him on 4. Let's say you have 3 other characters in play. They all quest, and you just shrink your opponent's board, so they just cannot challenge it. And that seems pretty strong, especially in an aggressive deck. With a deck as dominant as Dogs, I don't know if it needs cards like this. It might just slow it down. But again, with rotation, this is a weird set to evaluate too, because it's not only is it a short set, like it's only 2 months long, right? But then rotation hits right after, and we're going to lose so many of the cards we know. So what is Mickey might be incredible in a post-rotation world. And now that like Dogs doesn't exist, he's there to fill the gap. All right, play this character. If you have another character 4 strength, we're going to play, draw a card. I mean, replacement's nice, very expensive though. Chosen character gets strength equal to their willpower. So kind of like Dale on an action. The only thing I think is kind of interesting about this is this does work pretty interesting with World's Greatest Criminal Mind. It essentially guarantees you can pump up anything to be in Criminal Mind range. Granted, we've had support cards like that have already done that. It's like, do we need this? Probably not, but that's an interesting idea. Growing Pressure. I like this art of them all crawling under the log. Can't be challenged, or can't challenge. Oh, okay. So it's the quest thing. Replaces itself, and it's a song. Yeah, I mean, this is what song decks are always looking for. Songs that replace themselves and protect your board. So that seems really solid. Friend and Me. I did a cover of this song on my channel many moons ago. Kelly playing on the clarinet, and our good old boy Flash there with us. So check that out if you want. Look at the 4 top review. I mean, if you can sing that for free, just essentially drawing 2 cards, assuming you find toys, but obviously you're probably going to put a bunch of toys in if this is what you're doing. Interesting. Yeah, it's specifically toys, so you're going to have to load up on the toy section. So because of that, I don't know how much play this will see. It'll depend how good the toy decks are. Yeah, shift from discard for free. Clearly interesting implications, like Prince Philip, bringing him back sounds really cool, but then you're forced into Amber Emerald. See, this is one of those instances where I wish you weren't limited to 2 ink colors, because I think this could get really interesting if you could play this with a variety of ink colors, but knowing that, okay, well, you're always locked to yellow something. And then it's still implied, like it's uninkable. It can't be sung, so you do have to pay for it. You have to have the base character out, and then the shift character already in your discard. Like, seems like a lot of hoops to jump through. Yeah, so I'll be surprised if this sees play, but maybe there's some combo I'm not considering. If an opponent has more characters in play than you play a character, God, this card seems annoying. So annoying, especially if you go second and you get like the Angel down turn 1. They're probably going to put a second character, going to have 2 characters, and boom, you just like vomit. Not the Singer Angel, but then the big Angel in the play. Like, seems obnoxious. But again, they love this design. Let's just make stuff free, cheaper and free. I expected that from the Final Fantasy TCG when it was like 20 plus sets in. It's a little disappointing how early Lorcana's leaned into this. Safety Rope. From your discard on top of your deck. End of your turn, you may banish this item to draw a card. Okay. Why is this uninkable? So the idea is you put, they got rid of my big Dale. Okay, I put Dale on, I play Safety Rope, put Dale on top of the deck. Turn ends, and I draw into the Dale, which is, I mean, it essentially replaces itself. It is optional, so you don't have to do it right away. So you could try to wait later, but I don't know. Does that need to be uninkable? Like, why is this uninkable? Whatever. Yeah, I mean, 8 willpower is a lot for Andy's room, so it's essentially a library. but it's kind of weird that it, like, I don't know. It's 2 to move. That's very expensive. You would want to get a character like Dale. Holy cow, he's a 6/6 now, essentially, during challenges. And he quests for 2. Neat idea. God, it's so hard for locations to see play, though. I don't think they really understand what makes a location good and what makes a location bad. So probably not gonna see Andy's room. Mordu, Rush. Did this need to be uninkable? I know I keep saying that, but again, especially as stats are going up, right? You know, we have generic 2-cost 3/3s that see play, like Black Heron. So this is just trading with them. Yeah, it has Rush, but its stats are a little weaker. I don't know. I guess they always seem to want to put Rush on an uninkable card. They really think that keyword is like that strong, which it is. It is a very strong keyword, but uninkable, I don't know. When you play this character via no magical, you may exert. Oh, okay. Little mini exertion. It's only on play, so not amazing for a 2-cost. You probably wouldn't want to necessarily play this on 2. I doubt you'd have a 1-cost. You're ready to like run into something. But like later, it would be pretty good. Just pay 2 and get to exert something. Oh, man. And then the disappointment of the set. I'm still waiting for Dwarven Exodia. If you don't know what that is in Yu-Gi-Oh!, there's a very famous set of cards called Exodia, the Forbidden One, and you collect all 5 pieces in your hand and you instantly win the game. Probably the most famous alternate win condition in TCGs. And was hoping for this, and that's not the case. Snow White, at least, does sound very good. When she quests, you get to bounce any dwarf back to your hand, and then if she's banished in a challenge, you get to bounce her back to your hand. So in theory, you could infinitely loop the steel dock with her. You know, you got Snow White, you play dock, you draw your hand, Snow White quests, boom, you bounce the dock back to your hand. They want to get rid of the Snow White, so they challenge her, but it doesn't matter because then they just replay the dock. In theory, it only works though if they banish her in a challenge, so if they use any kind of spot removal on her, that won't work. And other than the steel dock, the problem is I just don't think any of these dwarves are really worth playing. Like, it's a cool card, and I like the art. They always seem to give her really good art, but like, look at Dopey. Okay, can't sing. But he wants you to play songs. Which makes, I mean, a 3-lore quester with 8 health is cool, but again, this is turn 6. And then he can't quest till turn 7. Like, even in a metal, you know, we still have Hades and Let It Goes and things running around. Like, his willpower will kind of start to not matter at that point. Bashful, generic evasive, Doc. Draw a card, but you have to have another dwarf in play. Grumpy, generic 7/7. When you play this character, chosen character gets +1. I mean, yeah, those effects are always fine. Yeah, the little +1, but they rarely see, like, it's not like you see the Pocahontas a lot from the last set. The Donald only ever really saw play because he was also a bodyguard. Like, if he wasn't a bodyguard, I don't think people would have really played that card. But it was because he gave the lore and he protected the board. Happy, generic 3/3. Sleepy. I mean, he's kind of like a Diablo. He's like a better statted Diablo, but with a condition. It's okay. And someone pointed out, too, it's kind of cute that there's one of each cost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But sometimes I think Ravensburger goes too in on, like, the cute. Oh, isn't that cute? Look, there's of the 7 dwarves, each one is a cost 1 through 7. Okay, cool. But most of that, they're mostly terrible. They don't do anything. Even if, just based on stats alone, they actually end up being worth playing, which they won't be. But let's say they were. Like, they're still boring. These aren't interesting. You know, where it should be, hey, you get all 7 dwarves on the field, boom, you win the game automatically. You drop Snow White and the game just ends. Think how hard that would be in modern Lorcana. Like, the 7 characters don't just hang out on the board unless you vomited them all into play by turn 3, like with a dog's deck. But these are all purple, so yeah, disappointment. Alma. So again, the Madrigals are all about this damage manipulation. We'll see that with Louisa too. I mean, Cheshire Cat exists, so it's just hard to imagine any of this is going to see play. Frozone, here's a shift target for him. Will o' the Wisp, I have heard a lot about this card. I kind of wonder if it's being a little overrated. So, because we've had this effect before, and this character's banished in a challenge, you return this card to your hand. We've had it on... What was the other one? Was it Olaf? Or was it Hey Hey? I think it was Hey Hey, the chicken. So we've had this effect before, and those cards have never seen play. However, some people are theorizing because this has 3 willpower, that will make it see more play. And because it's specifically a 1 cost, so you can play this on turn 1. they're probably going to have to spend at least 2 turns running into it, which means it's getting ink, or it's getting lore, and then it bounces back to your hand when they challenge it, and then you just replay it again. You just slap it out as another 1 cost or ink it. I could see that, yeah. Maybe that would be enough. Once they get higher, though, the bodies are getting so big, they're going to easily trade into this. Is that worth spending 1 ink every turn to get a single lore? I mean, maybe in some kind of aggressive deck. So I can see the potential of this. I kind of need to see it in action. This is one I could see either way. Like, I could see it no play, and I could also see oh my god, this card's absurd. Like, people are really abusing this one. Oh, I see a Twitch chat. Oh, that's a bot. That's a bot. We're banning that. If it would let me. Hold on. All right, whatever. Okay, moving on. Who do we leave off? Violet Parr, The Incredibles. My favorite Pixar movie. Evasive. Yeah, so again, it's the damage manipulation effect. It's a shame her stats are so low. Makes even a cannon's able to take her out, but yeah, that's fine. Doesn't inspire much to talk about. This is incredible. Get it? She's flexible, so that's why she has multiple effects. Gain evasive or gets a lore. So it'd be a 5/6 2 lore quester, which is barely over the 5 cost 5/5 rate. Which is fine. Obviously, you can make her evasive too. Which you probably would use really more for challenging. Like, an evasive questing for 1 isn't a big deal. We've had effects like this in Lorcana for a long time, these start of turn, and I've always liked them, but they've also never seen play. Again, they're slow. You're still playing a 5 cost that does nothing the turn it comes in. And I have to be honest, neither of these are very exciting either. Like, I don't read either of these effects. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I want to build around that. Just kind of like, okay, just, that's there. Hamish, Hubert, and Harris. I didn't even know what these characters' names were. I just knew them as her brothers. I wonder if they actually say the names in the film. They probably do, and I probably just didn't catch it or didn't remember it. Uninkable, interplay exerted. If this character is exerted, can't ready. Oh, okay, interesting. So you play them, you ideally play them exerted, and you essentially just freeze something. That's a FFTCG turn where you just prevent it from readying. That's kind of interesting. I don't hate that. I hate that it's uninkable, especially for how understated these are. Like a 3 cost 2/3 nowadays. That's pretty bad. But I don't hate the effect. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. God, I just wish it wasn't uninkable. I might actually run this in like a Ruby Amethyst list. It's like, haha, I froze you kind of thing. And then not only is it the instant effect, if it could stick around, which it probably won't with this lowest stats, but if it could, you can keep something down. Like, again, cool idea. And just, man, why'd they make it uninkable? Eleanor. So hits as a 5/4 for a 4 cost. That's fine. Quest for 2, it's not bad. But yeah, will it see play? Probably not. It's probably too generically boring. I don't hate this though. Smacking is a 5/4 and then questing for 2. But again, it's a 4 cost that does nothing. There's character quest. If you played another character this turn, you may draw a card. Cool. Okay, so again, why is this uninkable? It's a 3 cost understated that does nothing the turn you play it. And then, yes, it's continuous card draw, but it has a condition, requires you to play a character. It has to quest, so it exposes itself. And again, with a 2/3 stat, it's going to be very easy when you're in the 4 or 5 ink range to take this out. Like, this absolutely could have been inkable. Love the boomerang he's throwing, though. That's cool. At least I'm assuming he's throwing. I guess if you look at the trail, it almost looks like it's coming from behind him. So maybe he didn't throw it. Or, like, did he throw this? Or is that trail? I'm thinking about the art too much. Mirage. If you have a superhero character in play, you may draw a card. Again, same thing. This is already conditional. Like, this is a conditional. It's understat. I mean, these are the stats of a 2 cost now. It's conditional. Like, I don't know. I think it could have been cheaper. Like, couldn't this have just been a 3/3/3? And then also, I mean, Nani just generically checks the deck when she comes in. A 3/3/3 that had a super in play. Like, why does this cost 4? Edna mode and guest. When you play this character, you may choose item. If you do it, okay. It's versatile. Doesn't just have to be your. I believe there's an item coming up too that this is meant to be used with. Yeah, the super suit. Understated. Lore's nice. It buffs all super characters with the lore quest. That's pretty good. I definitely want to try a super deck, not only because I want franchise themes in Lorcana to work, but Incredibles is such a enjoyable movie for me. So we'll give it a shot. But very. And if you don't have an item, it doesn't do anything the turn you play it. You might potentially get one big quest out of it, though. Interesting. She's not super herself, is she? No. Why would she be? Maleficent. If you played another character, you may exert chose. Okay. God, that's so slow. So 5 do nothing. If it sticks around, as long as you're playing characters, you're questing, you're exerting something. That's asking so much of you, though. So you play this on 5, it does nothing. And this is kind of just a problem with effects like this in general. So yes, you're exerting something when you quest. If you played another character, so you're spending your ink play. Here's the problem, though. To take advantage of an exerted character, because an exerted character, it only has value if you can challenge it, or you have like Into the Unknown or something. So you need Maleficent. You'll need another character that is dry, can challenge that turn. And then you play this other character, Maleficent can exert it, and then your other character that's dry can challenge it. Like that's a lot of conditions you need for a card that doesn't do anything till turn 6. Peppa, do 1 damage each of your other characters. Hit your own. Okay, but it draws a card. It obviously, okay, fits in with this whole damage. I'll try this. I'll try to make a deck out of this whole damage manipulation thing. She seems like at least the payoff for it, where it's a shame it's kind of not 1 damage for each damage you remove. Maybe they thought that'd be too busted. But here's your draw engine at least. This whole package could potentially be something after rotation when we lose generic cards like Genie, like I almost said Friends. Yeah, so keep an eye on it. Mordu, exert all characters not named. It's only your characters, not opponents. Not named Mordu can't ready at the start of your turn. God, my dog's going crazy up there. Oh, that's because Amazon's outside. Let me close the door 1 second. All right. Stupid dog's losing his mind. So. What's up? Hey, Chicano Heart. What's up, Rudros, the people's champion of Lorcana? Always keeping it real. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Do you think Heroic can be Lorcana's commander? So I've never played the Heroic format. I wouldn't mind trying it sometime, but I don't. It could be. I mean, Commander is so popular in Magic. I don't know if it could ever reach that level of it, and I don't know if Lorcana's designed for it, but I need to play the format first. But thank you, Chicano Heart 14. I really appreciate that. I try to keep it real. I try to just give my own. Lorcana is saturated with people who will tell you everything in the game is great and nothing's wrong and everything's amazing. So like, we don't need more of those types in the game. Like, we need more people who will just openly speak their mind. And I'm not even criticizing anyone when I say that. I'm just saying the game has plenty of that. So let's give it a little of something else. Back to Mordu. Obviously, insanely overstated. 8/8, 3 Lord. That's awesome. At the cost of losing all your other characters. Maybe not. I wonder if there's some kind of deck you could build around this. Like, if you could play Mordu first and then follow up with other characters. The problem is if those other characters quest, Mordu still penalizes them. So, like, and again, once you're in the 5 cost and above range, stats start to not matter, right? There are things like Criminal Mind and Basil and Let It Go, and that it doesn't actually matter how big your stats are. You just still get removed with this stuff. So cool idea, but probably gonna be too much work. Alma, this goes in the whole damage thing. I need to see it in action. I would love to believe there's something here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's too much work. Frozone, this card's a major disappointment for me because I love this character from the film. Art is great as it usually is. But can you guess what I'm going to say about this card? Yeah, that's right. All together now. Say the line, Rudros. Why is it uninkable? It costs 6 because it has Rush. That's why. It costs 6. That's incredibly expensive for a 6/4. I would almost... I don't know if it would be worse or better if the stats were flipped. Like if it was a 4/6, it won't take as many things out, but at least it survives longer. Like a 6/4, I just see it running into a Scuttle, some 5/5, and then just it's instantly gone. the nice thing is he kind of builds into his ability that, you play him with another super and he can challenge something right away that maybe he couldn't. He exerts it, boom, he goes in and he whacks it. He is also 2 lore, so if he sticks around, he can start questing. Like, it's just so expensive. Again, why couldn't this be inkable? It's a 6/4 rush, a 6 cost 6/4 rush. Like, let's just take those stats. That's not impressive. That is incredibly expensive for a pretty underwhelming body, even with 2 lore. And then for his effect, you have to have another super in play, to compare it to Elsa. Now, Elsa kind of fills a very different role, right? She hits way softer, and she's meant to kind of target evasives and, like, small bodies. So, like, yes, it's awesome that Frozone can come in and just, bam, knock something out. And given the lack of better options, especially once Elsa rotates, we might be running Frozone just because we don't have a whole lot of other choices. But just, with this condition on it, I just don't think it needed to be uninkable. Like, and the more cards that are uninkable, the more they struggle to see play. Oh, Luis is a legendary. I knew she was a big card. I didn't realize she was a legendary. So again, same thing. You move a bunch of damage. Boom, you blow up something else. Cool idea. I need to see it all in play. Dash, probably the one card I can guarantee we'll see play, at least in like the lore burn decks. This one I kind of understand why it's uninkable. It's cool we finally got this ability. A card can quest the turn it's played. Makes sense for Dash as well, because he's just that fast. Like, that's a cool theme. Yeah. Again, is it overall, like, will he play in Infinity? Maybe in a lore burn list. He's technically worse GOAT because he's uninkable. And presumably he's going to die the turn he comes in. So, like, it's cool that he quests for 2, but it'll be very surprising if you ever get to have him do more than one quest. He can rush, so in a pinch if you need to attack something, although a 4 cost 3/2 isn't exactly threatening. But still, who cares, because the whole point is he's basically 2 lore on play, which is very strong. So I expect to see good old Dash. Luis challenges boring turn. If you return a hero character this way, draw 2 cards. I will try a hero deck. So it's kind of like, God, it's so expensive though. 4 for a bounce is just terrible. It's worth it if you can get the 2 cards, but is there a hero you want to bounce and replay a lot? I mean, maybe Dash. That's a lot of ink though. That's 8 ink to do that. All right. Draw a card, 7 dwarves character can play. You can play any 7 dwarves character. Oh, and a princess. Okay, so I mean, you can play the big one. What's the 7 cost? Grumpy, yeah. You can play, so if you get Snow White in on, like, if you can get a princess in on 1 or 2, dwarf in on 1 or 2, turn 3, bam, you slap out Grumpy for 7. That's a fun line. I like that, if you can line that up. Yeah, that's a fun line. Don't be nervous. Search your deck for a princess character card. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they're adding searching it now. That's interesting. I mean, it fits well with the 7 dwarves theme, but just it's so expensive. 5 to do that. And then you have to have 2 dwarves in play. Like, why is it so pricey? It's so specific already. It searches for a princess. Like, and if you thought, well, we just didn't want the generic princess search, tie that to the second effect. Say, if you have 2 or more 7 dwarves character in play, you play this, boom, you get a princess, boom, you get 2 lore, and you draw 2 cards. I mean, the payoff is huge, right? You're essentially getting 3 into your hand because you're getting the princess plus 2. Like, it is a huge, huge payoff. But you're just playing the crappy dwarves is the problem. Would have been a really cool card again if the dwarves were Dwarven Exodia. So, yeah, huge payoff. I just don't think the cards are there to support it. If you have a hero character in play, gain a lore. Again, why is this uninkable? If you played a hero character this turn, draw a card. So you had to have not only played a hero character, spent 2 as well. Excuse me. So it's kind of like the Magic Mirror. It's like this cheaper version of the Magic Mirror. I mean, it might matter. Continuous card draw is something never to be overlooked, but damn, it's uninkable. The Tapestry. Each player shuffles all character cards. Terrible, unless you're specifically trying to hate on like a shark deck or something. Ring of Stones. I do like that first effect that exerted characters can move in for free. Man, I kind of wish it wasn't once per turn. Like, it'd be cool to be like, you've got a board of like 4 characters. You quest them all out. You drop Ring of Stones, and you just go bop, 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 bop. And you just move all four in, and then ding, 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 ding. And then they got this location. Maybe that would have been too strong, but given the nutty stuff we've seen in Lorcana, like I don't know how that's any worse than dogs or any of this other nonsense we deal with. So, yeah, because obviously you don't want to pay 3 to move something there. Although it is at least a source of instant lore. You know, if you have an Olaf, any one-cost character, one-cost Ring of Stone, and then you just move them in. So I like the idea of this one. Damn, I think it needed that second effect needed to be every character, and then I think it would have seen play. Merida, generic ward, generic evasive, generic 1/3. It's interesting that they have not power crept the stats of the one cost. They have done most of the other stat lines, but not the one cost. Why is that? Todd, Nimble Fox, boring. Helga. Oh, this is when we're going to start to see this discard effect. God, there's a lot of damage manipulation in purple this set. A 2-cost 5/4 is awesome. The problem is you'll never get this on turn 2, right? How do you possibly... I guess the only way you could possibly do that is if you had like a turn 1 singer like the Angel, and then you had her sing like Strike a Good Match, because then the good match goes into the discard, and then the card you throw out goes into the discard, and then you could drop Helga Sinclair. But like, I don't know. So maybe she just comes out later in the game, and then she's more boring the later she is, because again, bodies are getting bigger. Weird card. Where's the character? Huh. That's kind of interesting. Although it's still late in the game, they'll probably have other ways of removing her, and a single lore is not really a great... Okay, so if they have any damage, because she's a 4/1, which is a good beater, very reminiscent of like the Tinkerbell, but Buzz is generic. This character can't quest or challenge unless you pay 1. A 1-cost 3/2. So the stats of a 2-cost from sets ago with 2 lore. Good stat line. Having to pay 1, is that worth it? Like, would you want to do like, okay, RC on 1, next turn Daisy plus pay his tax? Maybe. I'd have to see this in play. I don't... Yeah. I'd have to see this one in play to see how he would pan out. Lord MacGuffin. Interplay. 5-cost uninkable? And he has to come in exerted? I mean, 3 damage is not... Oh, no, right. It's damage character. It's terrible. I was like, 3 damage just out of nowhere isn't terrible, but nope, it's damage. That's terrible. El Terrible. Lenny discards an action card of your choice. Oh, you actually get to pick. That's pretty good. Whenever you play an action, you can ready this character. No restriction on that either. No, can't quest, can't... You know, most of them have like, they can't quest or challenge, or can't quest or whatever for the rest of the turn. Huh. Interesting. That's interesting. And especially because you get to pick. Great. It has to be an action card. Can't be a location, an item, a character. Interesting. Unless it's like part of some infinite combo. I don't know how relevant the last part is. He's still an O2. I mean, I guess it gives you a free quest every turn. You quest, you ready him. Just leave him safe. Huh. Yeah, Lenny's interesting. I'm sure he'll see some play. Mole Guy. Just evasive. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard 2 cards. A good filtering, and obviously sets up cards like Tramp, sets up any of these effects that want to see a bunch of cards in the discard. Is slow, though. He has to quest to do that, so he doesn't do anything until turn 5. Peter, Sporting, Milo. Excuse me. Ward is very good. Someone recommended I play this in blue-green. When you play this character, you may choose... I don't like that he has... like Basil's text, but it's just worse because you have to pay a card for it. Basil just does that generically. Obviously, though, it feeds into his second effect. As long as you've 2 cards, he gets to draw. I think that could be pretty impressive, especially because he has Ward, so he can actually sit there. And blue-green is known to go through a lot of cards. So if you got a Milo on the field and you just play any single card, develop your brain, boom, you've triggered Milo. He's going to give you a card at the end of the turn. And because it's end of the turn, it actually synergizes well with Clarabelle. Like if they're both on the field, you can Clarabelle first, drop to max the Clarabelle, and then draw one with the Milo. And 3 lore, nothing to sneeze at. So I at least can see the potential of this card specifically because it has ward. And I know everyone hates the ward keyword, but this, like, it needs to be there for some cards like this. Like this card is asking you to invest a lot in it. So it needs protection. It needs a reason to sit around. So yeah, I will try Milo. I think there could be something here, but it is also, maybe it's the replacement for Basil when Basil rotates out, because at least you're still getting the effect. I have to try him. Alien technically has a kind of infinite loop effect with if he's banished on your turn, and if other toys are buffing him up, you can just run him in, run him in, run him in, run him in. Cool idea. Usually effects like this can be exploited in some way, so I'm predicting this could be as well. I like the repeated discard, but you always have to play a character. I wonder if that'd be good enough in Infinity. He's so slow because he has to quest to do it, but you guarantee, instead of like hoping you draw into the discard action, you just have a guaranteed repeated form of discard. That's interesting. It's worth looking at. Buzz. Then choose and discard a card. Oh, so it's just filtering. But it's whenever you pay 2 or less. Oh, but it's a non-character. Huh. So maybe like some kind of Ruby Emerald action list, though those I've never seen play. And then you get a damage as well. Maybe there's a way to take advantage of this. I'm not thinking of it off the top of my head. Interesting. Eleanor, at the end of your turn, if you have 3 or more exerted characters in play, do 1 damage to chosen opposing character. Gain 1 lore and draw. Oh, that's a lot of effects. If you have 3 or more exerted characters in play, you get to shoot 1 thing for damage. You get a lore. I mean, that's pretty decent payoff. Again, why did this need to be uninkable? First of all, this payoff is good, but it's not insane. So not counting the damage, it's Dumbo. You get Dumbo's ability. You gain a lore, you draw a card. And 1 damage is like, it's better. It's nothing. But again, if this was just at the end of your turn, I would understand this being uninkable, because that's a lot of effects to get for just existing. But you have to have 3 characters, and they all have to be exerted. That's asking, why is this uninkable? They just don't understand. You're already asking for the moon for people for this. For an effect that, while good, is not like insane. This effect is not going to win you the game on its own. Strange. Lyle, when you play this, he looks awful familiar to me. I may have played him in my spoiler video. You may draw a card and choose. Okay, so it's filter. Each opponent loses a lore. Okay, and he fills it in. Okay, yeah, more filtering and fits in with that. Joshua. Oh, yeah, this is the reverse Flynn, right? Yeah, so this is the Flynn Rider from set 1, just with reverse stats, which could be better or worse. Probably it's better. It'd probably be better if he potentially takes something out. But again, as bodies get bigger, 2 strength means less and less and less. So, Merida. You may deal 1 damage to the challenging. Okay, so they don't even have to challenge her. It's just if they challenge anything, she essentially will shoot him back for something. Cool idea, but man, 5? And she's got to be exerted? Now, like, ideally, I think you want to shift her. You shift her on 3. She basically has Robin Hood stats at that point. But again, it's only during challenging. They can still just hit her with Into the Unknown or Let It Go or any of those effects. It's just like, all right, bye. Granted, I guess Into the Unknown is going to be leaving in a set. So maybe next set, this will be better. As with most Floodborns, like, seems a lot better when you shift it. If you're just playing this for 5, seems absurdly slow. Queen, I don't really understand the point of this card. I guess if you're the aggro deck, if you're ahead of them, then you don't care if they get 2 lore. In that case, them having lore is meaningless because you're just trying to go fast. So you drawing a card makes more sense. However, but then her second effect wants them to have the more lore so she can quest for 3. So I don't know. This is just a weird card. I'm not sure where it fits or what its goal is. Good old Legend Buzz. I've already seen some like infinite loops with this in Infinity with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. You can bump characters up. Him, I kind of see why he's uninkable again, because okay, any action card 7 or less. I mean, you can get Be Prepared back with this. Granted, you're playing green red at that point, but Okay. Yeah. Granted, we've seen, what was it, the Lady Tremaine could return action cards, and she really didn't see much play other than outside of some cheesy decks. This is a much better body, at least, for what you get. So, usually there's always a way to abuse these. Again, I already know about the infinite combos, so we'll see where Buzz lands. Cruella, of all the, yeah, there was like a cycle of these that when they quest, if you played another character, you get an effect. This one seems the best to me, not only because it's an outright banish for anything that has damage on them. 4 lore is nothing to sneeze at. Granted, again, this costs 6, does nothing, so 7, it's not going to do anything until turn 7. It's absurdly slow. I don't think it'll see play, but I think it is the best out of the, excuse me. I do think it is the best out of that cycle of cards. Helga. 2 like, okay, so 6 cost, only on quest. Why not like make it whenever this character exerts so she can challenge? So imagine she challenges into like a Demona, and then yeah, she trades with the Demona, or she dies to the Demona, but then she boom punches back for the 1. Because she has to quest, so you play it on 6, it does nothing. 7, you quest, and then you have to have the other condition to get 2 damage. 2 damage, come on. Huntsman, generic card with ward. This is just double Heffalumps, right? Because Heffalumps is can't quest, draw a card for 2. This is 2 can't quest, draw a card for 4. Yeah, so it's double Heffalumps. And Heffalumps is good when Heffalumps is good. So, Sabotage. This was my spoiler. Sabotage. I never really talk about the spoilers themselves in my videos. I think it's more fun to do like a skit reveal and keep people guessing about what's going to come out. As far as the strength of this card, it's just so niche, right? It maybe if item lists ever come back, maybe an infinity, and you want to, all right, I'm going to blow up every copy of Maurice's Workshop. Currently in Constructed, the only thing I can think of is that boost deck, the yellow-red one. And like, so you could say Webby's Diary, boom, you blow up every single copy of Webby's Diary. But we also have cards that generically blow up all items or locations, like, period. And they don't have to be the same name. So, I don't know. I was kind of underwhelmed when I saw it. Although it was fun to make the video about it, at least. Family Scattered. And 1 to the hand. 1 to... I mean, it's good removal. Getting 3 things off the board is awesome. It's a bit shame that they get to pick, so they're going to keep the best thing into their hand. The thing they would want to draw the most, they're going to put on top of the deck. And then you'll bottom the other one. So, and for 8, and it's not even a song. You have to pay 8 outright. I mean, again, this is the same cost as Raging Storm. Now, one thing I will say, and I would like to see them do this, I like the idea of every ink color getting its own version of a board wipe. So, say, okay, well, this is Emerald's version of it. This is their 8 cost uninkable. And if they were to do that for all the colors, I actually think that's kind of cool. In a vacuum, without that existing... This is very, very, very slow. Again, if you could ever cheat it into play somehow, if there's anything that just lets you play any action for free, that'd be really powerful, but as is, kind of weak. Place item for free. Fits in with his whole action theme. Interesting. I wonder if that would matter. It's repeatable, at least, and it's inkable. Claw. Turn chosen opposing character player's hand. So, fits well with the aliens. You can keep banishing... Is it anytime the aliens are banished? Yeah, it's anytime they're banished. Okay, yeah, so the aliens are meant to... You banish the alien with the claw. You get to bounce something of theirs, and then the alien, you cycle and grab another alien. Again, cool concept. Very thematic. It's the claw. But it's a 4-cost uninkable. Does nothing the turn you play it, and then requires a 2-ink investment every single turn. So... Neat idea. Maybe so. Maybe if it's a control enough matchup, maybe you could just sit there and just alien bounce them forever. Maybe there's something there, but it sounds insanely slow. That's like the Ravensburger standard. Cool concept, cool idea, absurdly slow. Gyro evac. Okay, kind of like Maui's Fishhook, just permanent, can keep stuff evasive. That's cool. Each player loses 2 lore. You lose 2 lore too? Why? You're the one investing in this. And why is it uninkable? Maui's Fishhook wasn't uninkable. Granted, it was one more expensive, but this didn't need to be uninkable. I like the card, actually. I think those are both kind of neat effect. I don't like that you lose lore for no reason. This card, God, this card's so bad. Uninkable for some. Look at these 3 items in a row that are uninkable. So you play it, deal a damage, pay 1, deal 1 damage. So you're paying 3 to get a fire the cannons. Why? No, genuinely, why? Yeah, you can split it up. Like, and why is this not tied to Merida? What does this have to do with Merida? Why isn't it, hey, here's its generic effect, but if you have Merida in play, all the damage is tripled. So you do 3 on entry and then 3 on exit. Holy cow. Give me, you've given me a reason to play Merida. Or the damage is doubled or something. Like, no, this has nothing other than her name being in the title, and yeah, her arm is there. Like, this could just be any generic thing. It has nothing to do with a Merida character. Like, what a terrible card. Pizza Planet. So 7 willpower. Toys can move for free. That's cool. And they lose lore. Those effects have never really gone off, so I don't see that mattering much here. It's cool the toys can go there for free, though. Pizza Planet. On to Ruby. Every designer's least favorite color, because they just hate Ruby for some reason. Big Lyle. Okay, so he's going in the whole discard theme. Okay. So he's technically card advantage in the sense that the cards are coming off the top of your deck. They don't have to come out of your hand, and then you get an action back. If there's an action worth abusing, that could be pretty good. Marching off to battle comes to mind. That's kind of Ruby's only real source of card draw. And in theory, too, even if you didn't have an action, the first effect can like feed into that, right? You could potentially mill one into your own discard, and then he pulls it back. Say it with me now. Why is this uninkable? Why? It's I don't know. Like his stats are, he has the same stats as Frozone. I guess maybe, yeah, that's why, because Frozone was uninkable. Yeah, I mean, neat idea, but just it's not very exciting. Incredible shift line, generic 4/4. Why does Lyle have so much representation in this set? That's kind of strange. Boring. Boring, and it's gonna die at anything it runs into. Milo. So he's a 4/3 2 lore for 3. I mean, that's okay. It's not exciting, and it has a condition tied to it. Zeus. I actually hated this card when I first saw it, but if you can like Ohana this, that's gonna feel great. You drop the Zeus, you can Ohana it, and then boom, get your. I forget if Ohana's a song. If Ohana's a song, obviously someone could sing it immediately. If not, you just do it the next turn. Draw 4 cards, and you have a 3 lore quester. That's pretty good. You play this character, top 2 cards. Okay, so it's just generic. Feeds into that. Not interesting. This whole cards in your discard thing is, yeah. We'll see how that works out. Here we get some of the toys. A lot of Sid's toys. And Sid is all about banishing the toys, so Sid comes in, he banishes one of the other toys. You give something evasive for a full turn. I mean, it's fine. But this is a 2 cost versus Sid coming in on 6. Granted, it doesn't have to be with Sid specifically, right? It says anytime a toy is banished. So in theory, if you had a board full of these toys coming up, you run one in, you challenge, you take something out, boom, you give Jingle Joe evasive. Another one runs in, takes something out, boom, Jingle Joe gives something else evasive. So in theory, there could be something there. I need to see it all in action. Let's see. So he's free if a toy dies. Okay, well, there's some synergy there at least. Roller Bob. Deck. Oh, okay. This, so it's like a fox at that point. But they have to be in your discard. So probably, it seems incredibly unlikely this will be live on turn 3 unless they immediately banish your 1 cost, immediately banish your 2 costs. So this is probably a later game effect. Yeah, a lot of these have to do with that, putting stuff from your discard, which granted, some of them feed into that. They put stuff into your discard, so they're trying something new. I mean, this whole like discard from your deck thing, I'll give them that. They're trying something new. This seems kind of underwhelming to me. Another play for free. I mean, there could be some kind of an aggro character spam deck with this. Managing a toy character gets banished. Okay, yeah. So again, I can see the synergy at least. A toy, whatever toy, I don't know which toy is your beater, your banisher. Let's say you've got a copy of Roller Bob on the field. Roller Bob goes in, trades something with his effect. This card is now free. You then put the Roller Bob from the bottom onto the deck. This card is now free. The Wind Up Frog at least is interesting because it quests for 2. This is just a generic. This is what am I doing? I'm overthinking this. This is that stupid Pudge card, right? Yeah, this is just Pudge. Let's pull it up really quick. Just because I want to make sure this is just Pudge, right? Oh, why does Dreamborn do that? Okay, yeah, with different stats, but it's the same thing. It's like go through these. This is just a generic. So it's a worst. If you ever don't play this for free, you're playing a understated 2 cost. Okay, whatever. Now I'm less impressed. Okay, so again, here's the idea. Yes, there is synergy here. That play I just described makes perfect. You Roller Bob, boom, he's gone. He got banished. The frog's free. Oh, and Dringle Joe makes himself evasive. Oh, and now I play the hand in the box for free because I tucked the Roller Bob. Is that technically synergy? Yes. Does that do anything interesting? Or does it just blat? Here's more characters, which is not even an interesting character. Just I got a body on the field. You mean ready another chosen character? Oh yeah, this was that cycle. She's cheap at least. Copper, his non-rush version, terrible. I don't even remember this character. Anything's edible if you fry it, if you say so. Dash Par, Uninkable Maui can technically quest, but I'd rather take the Reckless and get the Inkability. Uninkable's not really good for that. Baby Head. Chosen character gets +2. Okay, so it's the reverse. He buffs up. One of your other characters is banished. Draw a card. It has to be during your turn, though, so it's meant for the challenging. Or obviously works well with Sid. Again, I think this could have been inkable. Art's interesting, too. Bouncy Ducky for each toy character card. Okay, so it could become completely free if you've got all the toys in there. From your discard on the bottom of your deck. Oh, so he just shuts off all that. That's a little annoying. Jack, yeah, very random. Character gets +2, so he'd become a 6/4, or he quests for 3, which is pretty solid. Or you just get to just banish anything on the board. Pretty decent effects overall. It's incredibly random. I would honestly want to build him with a location list, so he just starts banishing stuff every turn, which is pretty funny. I don't know. I usually cards that are random and are inconsistent have to have a pretty high payoff to make them worth that. I'm not sure Jack is there. That might just be too inconsistent, but maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter because maybe the effects are good enough that you'll get to do what you want. Still a 4 cost that does nothing the turn you play it. Queen of Hearts, character quest. If you play another character this turn, chosen character gains rush. Oh yeah, that was that cycle. God, she has so little health. Unimpressive. Hercules. Discard your hand. Oh, that's right. It's worse Doc. Yeah, it's just Doc, but worse. Arguably worse stats. I'd rather have Doc's 1/3. Yeah, it's okay. There you go. It's worse Doc. Vincenzo Santorini. Really cool against Lucky Dimes. Not that that's around anymore. Are there really even any items that get played currently that are like repeatedly used that this would matter? Not that I can think of. Leviathan. This card I absolutely want to talk about. This is the most Ravensburger card of Ravensburger cards. Because what does it have going for it? Great idea. Great theme. And that's it. At 10 cost, uninkable. Why? Why was everything that has potential in this game uninkable? 10/10, quest for 3. When you play this character, if 2 or more cards were put into your discard this turn, you may banish any number of chosen opposing characters with a total strength of 10 or less. So the banishing effect on this is great. God, could you imagine if you were against a dog's deck? You would basically board wipe them, no matter how big their board is. You could take out 3 tramps and still have enough to hit 4 strength left over. So the effect is really powerful. The stats are insane. 10-10. It's going to destroy any location in one shot. It's going to destroy any character in one shot. It quests for 3, so it's a questing threat. The art looks cool. It's a beast in the movie, right? It completely wrecks their ship. So again, all the theme and all that is great. However, why does this have a condition? This should just be on play, do this. It costs 10. It costs 10 ink. Well, I'm going to set blue aside for a second because blue is the obvious answer, but set blue aside. So any deck that's not blue, you have to wait till turn 10 to do this. I mentioned that dogs example. Yeah, what we forgot in that example is, okay, but dogs has already won the game on turn 4, turn 5. They don't care you're going to wait till turn 10 to drop Leviathan on them because you're going to be dead before then. They will have already won the game. So it's just too expensive. And if it's that expensive, like, they don't seem to understand with these high-cost expensive cards, if you want me to take the risk on this, it has to be inkable. Like, if there's one thing they got right in set 1, it was the Maleficent Dragon. Let me pull her up. Yeah, this card, the only reason this ever even saw play was because it was inkable. Because if you drew it early, I always used to make the joke back when I would play red-blue in set 3, is I'd be like, well, I know what I'm inking turn 1. Tuck the dragon into the inkwell. Why is the Leviathan not inkable? Give me a reason to take the risk on it. So because of that, because it's this high cost uninkable, once again, which is what keeps happening in this game, the only color I compare this with is Sapphire, which is now forcing everything into this Ruby Sapphire pile because it's the only deck that could feasibly get to this in a amount of time to make it worth it. By ramping. And even in Sapphire, like, most Sapphire decks tend to ramp only once now, which is with the Sail Teep 1-2. Some of them will ramp again if they run the Cinderella, and I think you'd have to run something like Cinderella to get this, but that's still so much time you're getting to get to a card that, by the way, doesn't actually work against Ward because it chooses characters. This is not just like a Sisu where it just hits everything automatically. It has to target them. So if they have warded characters, it can't target them. And then on top of all that, 2 cards have to be put into your discard. Well, you're spending 10 ink. Like, if you're on turn 10, let's say you're going into this turn, you're at 9 ink, you're at 10 ink. You cannot just play Leviathan. You have to somehow get 2 cards into your discard. How are you doing that? Or are you challenging? And then your challenging characters have to have died? Are you singing 2 songs, which means you now need 2 characters on board to sing those 2 songs to get them into the discard? Like, just... why? It's cards like this are so frustrating because, again, it is a cool idea and it is very thematic, but they just hamstring it with this high cost and this uninkability. And again, you can have cards that cost 10. High cost cards are fun. It's exciting in Magic to see a card with, holy moly, look at all those mana pips on it. Holy moly, look at this big double digit in the corner. But then just make it inkable. If you made this inkable, I would even try to make this work in a Ruby Amethyst list. It would probably get cut pretty quickly because you just can't realistically get to 10, but you would at least give me incentive to try. If I'm playing Ruby Amethyst and I draw this in my opening mulligan, which happens all the time or very early in the game, it's a brick. It just sits in my hand doing nothing. So once again, we all have to play Sapphire decks just to make this stuff even attempt to work. It's just disappointing because it is a cool idea. It's a really cool idea. And I have to point out again, too, with the stats, yes, a 10-10 stat line is insane. But if you're in the 10 ink range, if you're playing against any fellow Sapphire deck or yellow deck, okay, World's Greatest Criminal Mind, let it go. Into the, like, there's Hades. There's so many cards that just say, I don't care how much willpower or strength you have. Get out of here. Very disappointing. Sid. Play this character, banish another chosen character of yours. If you do, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their own characters. And if a toy is banished, gain 2 lore. The idea is you drop him, you banish one of your own toys, and they have to give up something of their own. Again, this didn't need to be uninkable. If this was inkable, I'd be so much more excited about this card. So they get to choose, so it's like the Tremaine effect, which if they have one thing on the board, fantastic for you. If they have 5 things, they're going to pick the worst thing for themselves, and it requires you to give something up. And again, good design that okay, yes, you have to lose a character, but it's okay because if it's a toy, you get lore back, which is the point. Cool design, but it's already so specific. Even without this extra toy effect, if it was just, it's essentially Tremaine that I now requires a sacrifice from me. Why is that uninkable? Why is that an uninkable effect? The way this game has gone, man. Removal is getting worse and worse and worse, and the characters are getting better. The look at the power creep. Look at the body sizes on some of these things. The body sizes are getting higher and higher and higher, which means removal that targets strength or willpower gets worse and worse and worse. Cool idea. I like Sid a lot. I would like to try to build around him. He just didn't need to be uninkable. Because again, now if I'm not playing red-blue and I draw this turn 1, this is a brick in my hand for 5 turns until I can get to turn 6. Which again just keeps forcing this red-blue, 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 because blue is the only color that can like offset all this crazy uninkability. Mr. Incredible. I am personally very underwhelmed by this card. I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Justin as he's trying to come up with some super lists that do take advantage of this card. As he has pointed out, if you can shift this on 3, and if you can go essentially the line of Mr. Incredible into Demona, so you've got a bunch of supers, Demona comes down, your hand's empty, you refill for 3, the entire board gets exerted, which means all your supers go in, and then you're drawing a card off of all those. Like, holy cow, you draw 3 from Demona. Let's say you draw 3 from the supers, and you got 6 cards in hand already. Awesome, awesome, awesome. If that lines up. You could also drop him on 5, and then Demona, and then all that lines up. Are the supers going to be worth playing? That I don't know. I definitely want to try. I appreciate the theme of this, that like he gets super strong with his family, and when people are together, it's just the willpower. So this is an example where I absolutely wish it had been switched. I wish he had been a 4/6, and then his strength goes up and up and up as more people come around. Maybe they thought that would have been too hard to deal with. But again, when you're in this 5-ing territory, your stats tend to not matter as much because you just get spot deleted anyway. I definitely will try to make this card work, but when I read it, I'm a bit underwhelmed by it. But I think it's because the supers read underwhelming to me too. If they're not, man, I hope they're not. Like, I love the Incredibles. I want to make it work. Hey, the Chanted Table, I can't quite tell what your name is. Want to try to get him to work with maybe Maximus or Flynn Rider. Yeah, that's a good combo. Let's see. Ooh, you might be cooking something there. I didn't even consider Flynn. Of course, that's Infinity. Thank you, Rotation. Taking away a cool combo. I'm assuming you're talking about this Flynn. Because, yeah, if you did Incredible on 1, Flynn on 2, it's kind of like the old Sisu line, right? You drop Mr. Incredible on 3. He's 6. He actually becomes 8. Yeah, good luck surpassing my 8 strength. And Flynn is a hero, if that matters. It doesn't matter for him. I guess if there's that one Hercules that cares about heroes. And then Maximus cares about high strength, right? This is probably the easiest way to get Maximus online. Gain 2. Okay, so you'll always gain 2. Oh, and I see. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's definitely worth trying. See if we can make something work with that. And if you do, you have to let me know. Thank you for the comment. Pterodactyl, Janie Doll. Each opponent loses a lore and you get... Okay, nice little lore swing. And it costs 1. I like that one. Nice and cheap. +1. So this is just improvised, right? This is literally improvised, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Just improvise on red. I mean, improvise was fine. So this is fine. Firefly Swarm. This one is weird. It's so... If you look at just the first effect, it's worse brawl, right? It's uninkable brawl. Why? However, with the second effect... it becomes cheaper Dragonfire. I think this might have been one of the first cards we saw with this like into your discard effect. And at first I was like, well, that's terrible. Like, I don't want to have to give up characters. But if you play a card, like if you play Sail the Ezrite Sea, the sail then goes right into your discard, and that's one of the triggers. So I don't know what to think of this card. If you can reliably get the second effect to trigger, yes, cheaper Dragonfire is awesome. That being said, it is uninkable, and that adds up when you're already running, Cinderellas and not be prepared, Leviathans, and all these uninkable cards. Like, these tend to add up. A card like Shark could obviously really take advantage of this, so I'm curious to see where this one goes. I think overall this might be a liability, but if there is a deck that can take advantage of the second effect, I could see this being strong. Bird in the Sky. Yeah, it doesn't replace... Unfortunately, Lorcana's in this spot where most cards have to replace themselves or do something crazy to be worth running. So even though I like this just generic lore and evasive, that's a cool effect, but without replacing itself. That's just not going to see play. And that's what happens when you have a system like the ink system, and you have to every turn you're spending not only a card in your inkwell, but a card from onto the field. Characters get +1 strength this turn. Your hero characters gain. Whenever this character challenges another character, each opponent loses a. Oh, okay. So it's like the Aladdin, like Lore Steal. It's only specifically for hero characters. I mean, in theory, you do that with Mr. Incredible, and you're just getting this big lore swing on top of it. But that's also, it's not a song, so you have to play it, huh? Probably not. We've had cards like this before. It's just probably not. Desperate Plan. I don't like this card at all. I know some people are kind of high on it, specifically because it's not card advantage, right? I thought it was at first, but you spend the card itself, so you're down 1 card. You draw 2, so 1 replaces the Dangerous Plan, and then you go +1. So you're +1, but then you have to discard a card at random, so now you're just right back where you started. So if you started your turn with 5 cards in hand and you play this, you're still going to end with 5 cards. So it's not card advantage in that way. Also, if you know me, you know I have notoriously terrible luck. And so, what if the card you need is, what if, okay, it makes you discard your Cinderella for next turn or your Sail or something. Like, to me, this is far too unreliable, but it lives up to its name, I guess. Dangerous Plan. Inkcaster. And put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. Good with locations, and it's repeatable. That's surprising. Usually stuff like this banishes itself. Did this need to be uninkable? Again, give locations a boost. Give me a reason to go in on the locations. This is still a 2-cost do nothing. Total 3 investment. And I may whiff on it anyway. Absolutely could have been inkable. But I like that it's a repeated value for locations. Again, it makes me think, okay, we got to play red-blue now to get high enough ink that you can actually take advantage of this. Remote ink lands. Free mill every turn. Helps feed into all these cards that want cards in the discard. Maybe you need to run that with Leviathan. Pumps your characters up quite a lot, which is nice, although it is expensive. And then speaking of Leviathan, I like the effect on this. I love that it's got that revenge effect. Boom, I've always kind of wanted revenge effects on some of these locations. I think the Jafar boss deck had like a location that hurt you when you challenge it, and I thought that was really cool. But again, why? Why is this? This is a yes. 2 lore is nice. The movement's basically meaningless, but it has 4 willpower, 4 cost. And again, we have 5 costs that hit for 6. They're going to be able to one-shot this, and then they get to choose what they banish. If you got to choose, it'd kind of just be like Prince Eric on a location, but no, they get to pick. Like, just why? Why is this uninkable? I don't think this would see play even if it was inkable. If you take your entire turn 4 to put out this 1 spot, they'll either ignore it because it's like, well, I've got 5 guys on the board, so I'll just quest and get 10 lore. Or they'll quest with everyone, run it in with the 1 person who knocks it out, and then they'll banish their 1 call. Like, just didn't need to be uninkable. All right, Sapphire. Okay, I have to take a break real quick. If you're watching at home or you're watching later, I might try to edit this part out later on YouTube. But real quick, I need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back, and we'll pick up a Sapphire. Don't go away. Hey, we're back. There's one thing about doing videos live is in like live streaming. I always tend to, usually I would like edit these parts out on YouTube. Forgive me for blowing my nose here. All right. What are we on? Sapphire? No. Give me one quick second. I'm sending out a message here. All right. Okay, sorry about that. All right, where were we? Sapphire, right? Robin Hood. Gets a shift target for the steel one, although I kind of wonder if the steel one's just kind of past its days at this point. And again, this specifically forces you to play Sapphire Steel. Earlier, it being in steel made sense because it gave you the freedom to put him in whatever deck you wanted. I do miss that card. There were times I hated that card because the shift line was so strong. That was another Floodborn where, the shift line was strong, but the rest of it not. Prince Charming, generic, boring. Merryweather, pretty generic and boring, but I've heard some people excited about this card just because Ward is such a strong word. So just a 4 cost with good stats like this with Ward. Might see play because of that. New Basil, so Basil won't be going away. Excuse me. Oh, it affects the whole board. That's kind of cool. Same stats as Merryweather and the lure. Probably won't see play because that's a pretty weak one-time effect to get for a 5 cost, but I like it at least. Could be fun and sealed. Move to 2 damage from chosen character. Pretty boring. Syndrome, basically Lexington without the extra willpower, but no stone by day. Kita. Chosen opposing character. Okay, that's a generic Sapphire effect. Gadget. Play an item with cost 3 or less for free. Characters with support get +1 lore. Pretty good generic field effect if you are going in on a support build. So this is a card I could at least understand the argument for it being uninkable, right? Because playing anything for free is a strong effect. Makes you wonder why the lady from like set 7 was inkable, because that played a character for free. So yeah, imagine playing Maurice's Workshop with this for free. Yeah, that's pretty strong. I don't know if this will see play. Items are pretty dead right now in Constructed because they nuked them into Oblivion. And in Infinity, you have, what's it called? Tamatoa? Granted, maybe this is the new line you go 1, Popsicle on 1, Bell, Ramp on 2, drop Gadget on 3, boom, you play your Workshop for 3 for free. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting idea. Whenever you play an item, this one didn't need to be uninkable. Yeah, and tied to items. Gadget. Good to get back. What's it called? Popsicles, but obviously that's not around anymore. Pretty worthless and constructed. Generic. Already chosen item. So this wants you to play Blurple. Super version of Blurple. Do you care that this character has Ward? Especially when to do her, what is her main effect, which I don't even know which item. I guess the idea is you use it with Super Suit, right? You see, because Super Suit exerted for. Okay. Oh, good. It pulled them up next to each other. Super Suit. When you play this item, so you exert it, you pay 2, you have a hero in play, you draw a card. Then you use Edna you exert her to ready the item, to pay another 2, to draw a card. I mean, I guess in that sense, the ward's okay because at least it will protect her from getting removed before she gets the exert off. But still, I mean, you need 4 ink for this. Plus, Edna has to be on the field and ready. So you couldn't have played this turn. Like, I don't know. And for a 2/2. Zipper. His character quest. You may add his strength. Or no, his willpower. Oh, okay. So it's like support just for willpower instead of... He's a shift 2, so he can shift on this, which makes no sense because then what other characters he's supporting if... That's a weird... Yeah, I don't think you would want to shift him on 2. I think what you would want to do is play this one on 1, put something else out that you want to challenge with. Excuse me. Actually, it could be a good spot for something like this Prince Charming, who's 1/5, so he's naturally understated, but you don't care because you just want him to have a lot of willpower so he can take a hit. Then you shift the Zipper on 3, use that 1 extra ink to play, whatever 1 cost. Zipper quests, he buffs up the Prince. The Prince is now a 7/5 on 3, which is kind of funny. I think that's the line you do. So I don't think it'll see any serious play, but it's got some fun implications at least. Let's see. 1 quick second. Who's next? Louisa. Man, the Magical's got a lot to set. Character quests. From chosen character to this character. You can pile more damage on her. It's just, God, it's so slow. You can't do that till turn 8. The top card of your deck. We've had effects like this. Yeah, just kind of boring. Isabella. She got like a Venus flytrap in there. To this character? So she's the Louisa effect? Move all damage. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting at least. So she takes on the burden. Shouldn't that be like Louisa's thing? So she takes on the whole burden of everything and then she heals it. I mean, that's kind of cool in the sense that like she nullifies the idea of lingering damage, but lingering damage doesn't really exist in this game usually. She quests for 3. I like that. It's on play too, so it can let you do some combat tricks of like, oh, my Louisa, she's already got 5 damage on her. She's going to die in the challenge. Nope. Isabella comes down, absorbs it all. Boom. Louisa knocks him out. And then Isabella just heals herself at the end of the turn. Yeah, and because there's no interaction on your opponent's turn, Lorcana, she essentially is going to remove all damage. She's going to completely heal up every time. That's a cool idea, at least. Let's see. Once during your turn, whenever you remove damage. The other on the bottom of your deck. I mean, so Bruno then gives you card advantage for that, right? This character quest, you may remove all damage from chosen character. It's kind of weird, like how much they've like stacked these. I feel like there could have been some. I like Bruno's first effect quite a lot as he synergizes with these, but I don't know. I don't like how similar all those effects are. Like again, I feel like Isabella was already covered it. Why did Luisa need to do essentially the same thing? You may put the top card of your deck. Oh, yeah, she was the Cinderella. I mean, she's okay, just because it's ramp. It's just slow. And, yeah, compared to the other Cinderella, you're not running this. Put it on either the top or bottom of their deck. The only interesting thing about this is that at least it can go on either character, so you can manipulate your top of your opponent's deck. That's a cool idea. If you've ever had those games where you're like, oh man, just don't draw the board wipe, don't draw the board wipe. And Bruno says, well, let's look into the future. You won't be drawing that board wipe unless it's the card under it as well. I can guarantee it. I kind of wish that had been on quest as well instead of just on play, but I mean, no one's going to play this card anyway. Kita. So supposedly some people think this is the shift target for this Kita, which is a weird shift target because her effect is for questing. If you shift onto her, then her questing effect is meaningless. Still, it's a good little way to ramp. It's fine. I don't know if you'd prefer the worded Kita better, but she's also a 4 cost. I don't remember this character's name. Is it Kashakim? He's the king. At the end of your turn, if 2 you discard, you move to another way to help you ramp. Maybe once rotation hits and Tipo and Sail are gone, these other alternative ways of ramping might come into play more. Currently, they're going to see no play as long as those 2 cards are around, but we'll see. Mini. So kind of is essentially like a 2 lore quester as long as you're always playing characters, which you can do, but just terrible stats. Yeah, they have not power crept the 1 cost, and I don't know why. Excuse me. I'm sure if you're an aggro hater, you're like, well, that's good. I don't want but I don't know. That eventually these 1 costs are going to be nullified when even a card like Daisy, which I know she's about to rotate out, can just be one shot. So, and now our two legends back to back. Kita, my buddy Justin really thinks there's something to this card. I have to be honest, I don't see it. When you play this character, each player may put up to 5 cards from their discard into their inkwell, face down, and exert it. So we had an old card, Friend Like Me, which did this. It was on an action. I think it was 3 cards. But I think that one was just from the top of the deck. So this one isn't even guaranteed to trigger because of the way it's worded. If your opponent has nothing in discard but you do, you get the ramp and they don't. That's awesome. The reverse is also true. If you don't have anything there and they do, you've just ramped them. Good for that. It's kind of like a nice little zombie Lilo counter, although that card's about to disappear anyway. And then Path Revealed, like pay 7 for Develop Your Brain is ridiculous. That's so dumb and overcosted. I get the idea is that, well, it's not limited. So in theory, man, if you had 21 ink, you could do this 3 times in a row. Okay, but if you have 21 ink and you have nothing better to do, like you've already won the game by a mile. So, yeah, and the thing is that first effect too, like if you ramp into this Kita, like, you ramp on 2, and let's say you have to use Tipo and not Sail, then you Cindy, then you put down the other Shift Kita. Like, you have nothing in the discard. She doesn't actually ramp you. And yeah, she's a 7/7, quest for 2. I think she absolutely should have quested for 3 or 4. I think her lore is way too low. And again, I don't know. It's just so weird. She is a princess. She is a hero. So if that matters, it does trigger Cinderella again. But again, all that's not coming from your discard. I don't know, man. I'm just not seeing it with this card. If there's some secret sauce, someone is welcome to show me, but this just seems so over-designed and to not much benefit to you. What about our other legendary? I remember this being underwhelming as well. Let's see. So it's always a +1 lore. That's fine. And a 3 cost, kind of like the Pocahontas from last set. Character. Oh, yeah, and I don't like that. It's mandatory. So like, I don't like that it's mandatory. In theory, what you do, you do whatever your 1 cost is. You play Tipo specifically on 2. Then with 4 ink, maybe you've got a 1 cost or you've got to develop. You drop Ursula. She pumps up the Tipo. Tipo, who normally just sits there until he has something to do, actually gets to quest for 2. They don't want the and it's when she quests. So let's say she quests, she gives the Tipo. Or maybe that's what you do because you don't want the Tipo to die. But nonetheless, so she quests, she gives the Tipo the lore, Tipo quests. At the end of the turn, the Tipo now ramps you again. I mean, fine, but that's very specific. Blue decks, again, don't really have trouble ramping right now as is. This might be another one, maybe post-rotation. It'll be a little more appealing if we're having trouble ramping, but I don't know. I'm not seeing it. It just seems very underwhelming for what it does. Loser head, this is essentially heads held high, just at half the cost. Obviously 1 less strength reduction, but in a vacuum, I don't think this card's very interesting. I think it's pretty boring. However, it obviously synergizes with Under the Sea. So if you're running blue-green, it synergizes with Leviathan. It would synergize with Big Sisu in Infinity, although I think those decks are just happy to run Sapphire Coil, and they wouldn't really care about this. This doesn't target, so this does get around warded characters, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like the blue-green, the Baja is now in on the Prince Philip. Some of them will still run Under the Sea, but they're running it for a dogs matchup. I don't think they need this card. And I think the heads held high Under the Sea thing was like so clunky that I don't think they would want to go back to this. And if you're trying to, that's a lot of slots for that. MMS, Philip, all that. Dogs can't run this because they're not in Sapphire. So Sapphire Steel, but Steel doesn't really care about your strength. So again, once again, blue-red seems to be the only place. But Leviathan, like, I can't imagine Leviathan's going to have too much trouble hitting characters anyway. Like, legit, I think you might just be better going Sapphire Coil. I don't know. Maybe there's some combo I've forgotten about that I'm not thinking of. Yellow-blue has Raging Storm, right? Do they need this card? Like, I was kind of surprised how high people were on this card. And not that it's bad. Again, we saw what heads held high could do, but again, Baja has moved past that, and that was the deck that did it. Unless the difference of just being 3, having a character sing it for 3 versus heads held high 6, maybe that is enough. Maybe it's enough to make it go back into the Under the Sea version. I don't know. We'll see. What else can I do? This is the worst how far I'll go, right? So technically it's worse how far I'll go. It costs 1 more 5 ink, but it does have the big upside that if it's sung, your entire board gets ward. That's pretty darn good. Where does this go? Probably, once again, red, blue. I don't know if I could fit this in Baja as someone who's been playing a lot of Baja. I don't know what I would cut for this. Because this, to me, this is not appealing to play for 5. This is only appealing to sing for 5. Cinderella cannot sing it. A card like Scuttle that's warded could sing it. Although then he's already warded, so do you care about it as much? And I feel like you'd have to sing it at the right time. You'd have to have a card worth protecting. And in Baja, I'm always trying to catch up anyway. It's the idea of protecting Prince Philip is nice because people always just spot remove him with, Hades, let it go, whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, the full board ward is a brutal effect if you have a big board worth protecting. But if you're just hard casting this on 5, this is just so much worse than how far I'll go. So, guess we'll see. 2 more cards for the discard. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, did this need to be uninkable? It's already got a condition, and it affects you as well. Now, granted, if you don't have anything on the board, you don't care. And maybe this is a good follow-up to Cinderella. Maybe it really is. You Tipo, you Cinderella, you quest them both out. Boom, you drop Escape Plan. Now your 2 characters become ink, which ramps you even further. And then they have to get rid of 2 cards on their side. Excuse me. So that would ramp you. Let's see. On turn 3, you drop Cinderella. Cinderella's going to put you up to 5 with her effect by the end. So now on your next turn, if you inked, you go to 6 ink. You drop this. You're going to get 2 more. You'd go to 8. You'd be ready for a full fill up on the next turn, which is pretty cool. Again, cool idea. But keep in mind, what I just described only works if cards got into your discard. So that doesn't even work the way I described it because you didn't have any cards from your discard. If it didn't have that first effect, I don't know. I like the theory of it, but again, why is this uninkable? You're look at all these hoops I'm already mentally jumping through. This didn't need to be uninkable. Salvage operation. That second effect seems so tagged on. Just I don't know. The first effect on its own is enough to do this. I have nothing else to say about it. More damage removal. I'm glad it has the second effect. Maybe that's the payoff for all this damage moving. That could be worth building around. Because, this is now a win condition, right? You're using these characters to challenge. They're controlling the board. Bruno's giving you your card draw. And then this is giving you your win condition. So you can actually spend all your time challenging because you're getting lore from Julieta's, is it Arepas? 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 I don't know how to say that word. Okay. Might be something there. That might be worth building all the damage around. Your characters gain support. Just generically. That's kind of interesting. Would we go with the old Alice build? Oh, yeah, and it basically has the Alice effect. Okay, interesting. A little costly, but hey, it's inkable at least. Thank the Lord. You'd have to build around this, but that's an interesting idea at least. This is like Ursula's Cauldron, right? This is just a better Ursula's Cauldron. Oh, you have to pay for it, though. I think Ursula's Cauldron was free. Yeah. Inkable, at least. I like that. There we go. I was like, all right, that's too many inkable cards. We got to get an uninkable in here. Deck or into your discard. Okay, banish aside, return another item card from your discard to your hand. Huh. Seems clunky. And the Madrigal. Well, here you may remove up to 2 damage from them. Then you may remove up to 2 damage from this location. It's kind of cool the location heals itself. Thematic, too, with the house repairing and healing itself. But I think because of the way that's worded, right? Then you may... So, do you have to remove... I don't know if any of my rules people know that. Do you have to remove damage from the character in order to heal the location? If you had a character that had no damage, would this still work? Because this kind of implies the second condition is contingent upon the first. The first is optional anyway. Interesting idea. And it's still, some people call this the new McDuck Manor. I don't think. I mean, McDuck Manor had 9 health. This has 7. That's a pretty sizable difference for. And again, characters are bigger. Why is this worse than McDuck? Granted, this has a text, right? Whereas McDuck Manor had nothing. So, still, 4 cost, 7, 2 lore. Maybe that alone is enough. And then, yeah, if you can keep healing yourself with it, it's interesting. Steel. On to steel. Let's see. All right, Pocahontas. This art's fun. This character quest, if you played another character. Oh, yeah, this is the cycle. I mean, really strong effect if you have locations. Are you going to have locations? Probably not. Syndrome, a.k.a. Dr. Octopus. I almost was like, wait a minute, is this copyright infringement? Like, for how close he looks to Dr. Octopus? He looks cool. I was, granted, the arms aren't supporting him. I don't know what would constitute copyright infringement, but I'm definitely getting Doc Ock vibes. Of course, the Omni Droid, the way its arms worked, were basically Doc Ock arms anyway, so. Huge payoff if we had robots. Let's check. Robot. Characteristic. Robot. And filter. Legality. Core constructed. Okay, so he's a repeat. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what? What about all the Syndrome robots? Why aren't these showing up? These are called robots, right? Why are these cards not in this? What if I take this away? Huh? These are in core constructed? Whatever. Okay, well, it doesn't matter because there's not that many robots anyway. Other than this, they're basically all Baymax. So who can this guy bring back? Any of these, which is not very appealing. Well, actually, no, what is he? He's steel, right? Yeah, so he's steel. So he actually cannot bring back this one. He could bring back any of these if you're bringing Sapphire Steel. None of that's very appealing, other than maybe Legend Baymax. He's okay. Can't bring back Leviathan. And he can't bring back... He can bring back any of the Omni Droids. Let's just read them now, and I'll skip them when we get there. Generic does nothing. Have to shift to deal 2 damage to chosen character. Terrible, especially for being uninkable. Why? And here, while there's a card under this character, gain resist 2. Why? What is the point of this card? Why is there not a game-winning 8-cost Omni Droid that just comes in and wrecks the board? Or gives you a ton of lore or something like... And he has to quest. So again, if he's not being shifted in, he's a 6-cost do nothing. Now, in theory, because it's repeatable, like, yes, if he sticks around, holy moly, you're just reviving robot after robot after robot. But the robot has to be in your discard to trigger the second effect. So if you can't pull one back from your discard, you can't trigger the second ability. And you can shift for free. So yeah, if you have Baby Omni Droid, you can shift. But like, okay, cool, now I have a 6-cost that, yes, has resist 2, again, which, as we discussed, doesn't matter when they go, let it go, it's gone. How is there not an 8-cost Omni Droid? And I know some people say, well, maybe they'll make one in the future. But like, let's say they do. Let's say next set, 8-cost Omni Droid. You're just missing the point. This card's coming out. Like, pair them together. I don't know. Again, something could come out in the future that makes this just bonkers. But even then, it's still a 6-cost do nothing. Generic. Generic. Wow, Steel's getting some generic stuff. It's crazy they have to spend text space for this. Like, obviously he becomes Syndrome, but they have to because that's the way these the cards are worded and templated. Gain 1 lore for a hero. That's fine. Generic. It's 2. God, a 1/1 stat. That's terrible. Still, Challenger +2 is kind of like that Jafar. Was it like a 3-cost Jafar? He would buff something up. He's a 2/2, and he got 2 lore. So easy to take out, though. Generic. Lord Macintosh. That's kind of cool. Oh wait, never mind. I thought they were reversed. I thought they had the reverse art of each other. Do they? No, because he has no. It is okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like they're back to back. That's cool. That's a cool art trick. They're back to back. Unfortunately, this card's generic and this card's uninkable, so it probably sucks. To give chosen character resist. I mean, that's a neat effect. I like these like potential enter exerted cards that aren't tied to bodyguards. But yeah, again, why is this? He's now understated for. Remember, Bagheera exists. Bagheera's a 4/4 for 3, so he's understated for a 4 cost. He exposes himself. He could choose himself, which kind of is probably pretty decent limited. Actually, just again, does this need to be inkable? I don't think so. Fat Cat, just a generic body. Man, Steel got some generic stuff this set. 5/5, no damage. A 4 cost, 5/5, 2 lore. That's fine. Obviously really bad against other Steel decks. If they can ping him off, make him a lot weaker. Good in like a Ohana deck. You hit him, you heal him up with Ohana, he gets his stats back. So, yeah. We've seen the power of like Lawrence and Rhino and cards like that in the past, so I could see that scene play as that combo. Talked about the Omni Droid. Terrible. So 4 cost, 4/4, which in the past was normal stat line. Technically, this is understated now for a 4 cost, which it's just a weird place to be in stat-wise. And it has to be a robot or villain. I get it. It's thematic to like Syndrome or the Omni Droid. And you can see the Omni Droid's leg sticking here. Nice little art. Wish they'd do more crossover art like this. But that's just generic. Another interplay exerted. Challenger +3 is a lot at least. Fine, just not exciting. Buffs locations, which makes sense with his own Fat Cat Club. This card seems solid. I'm talking too long, need water. Maudie, generic. Holy man, someone hates Steel this set? Like, good God. Quest, if you played another character's turn, you may deal 1 damage to a chosen character or location. Whatever this character quests. So, again, why is this inkable or uninkable? He already does nothing to turn you play him. He has to quest. He's a 2/2, so he's not going to last more than 1 turn. And you have to play another character, and then you get 1 single damage shot. It's repeatable. If Goofy somehow could stick around, you could do it turn after turn after turn. That's cool, but again, why is it uninkable? Saw the Omni Droid Merida. Okay, this one I remember. I've seen this before with the 3 arrows. I'll go ahead and scroll down to 3 arrows. 2 damage to chosen character, 1 damage to another chosen character. So it can't be all 3 on 1, at least the way that's worded. It has to be another chosen character. So you get 3 arrows back, and then her second effect, whenever one of your actions deals damage to an opposing character, deal 2 damage to that character. So essentially buffs up all your actions. That's cool. I've heard some people say you don't even bother to run 3 arrows. 3 arrows is pretty underwhelming. Spending 3 to get 2 to 1 and then 1 to another. Again, Baboom and Cannons already basically did that, and they were all cheaper. With Merida, this becomes 4 damage to one thing, 2 damage to another thing, 6 spread damage. That's solid. Right? No. It becomes 4 damage and 3 damage. Sorry. 4 damage and 3 damage. Right? Yeah, because 2... Yeah, because that gets buffed to 2. It'll be 4. And then 1 gets buffed by 2. Yeah, so 7. So 7 spread. Pretty solid. But if you don't have a 3 arrows in play, the turn you play her, she isn't doing anything. Now, obviously, if you have like a singer, it does buff like your strengths and your, like if you have 1 singer, you drop her, you have 2. Strength normally does 2, now it does 4. That can matter for strength math. Thunderbolt now hits for 6. I do like that. Again, like it's a cool concept. Is that worth playing a 5 cost uninkable that also still needs a bunch of setup? Maybe just because Steel's removal, because it's so limited to damage. And sometimes when you get those high health bodies, it's like, I can't have enough damage because I need to be able to take these things out. So maybe. Merida's at least interesting. She might be worth building around. John Smith, generic. Resist. Actually a floodgate effect. But you have to have no cards in hand. And then it's not even like just generic. Like, wouldn't you just use Pete? Pete just stops anything, no questions asked, and this specifically has to be high cost actions. Yeah, that doesn't seem very good. Fergus. Play a location or discard. Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty strong. And again, it's that text time, it becomes exerted, so he can challenge, he can quest, he can sing. Let me deal 4 damage to chosen character. Okay, so at least it gives you incentive to build around and go in on locations. So he's at a location. It's kind of weird because the second effect is on your opponent's turn, but the first effect is your turn. So like on your turn, you quest, you bring a location out. I guess you move him there, and then if they attack the location, he then gets to like backfire. Probably though, if that's the case, they're gonna just try to. Excuse me. They're going to just try to take out Fergus instead, and not give you that chance. I just saw. Hey, Luke rated in. I hope that hasn't been a while ago. He says you're understated. Oh, that is true. I am understated. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, cool idea. I like this card, but it also does nothing the turn it's played, unless you can immediately move it to a location, and then they have to hit the location. But it's a cool idea. It gives you ideas for a build around. This is incredible. Blanket, resist +1, even includes herself, so she's essentially a 5/5. And then anytime a character is banished in a challenge during your turn, you can ready a super character, and then they have the usual, they can't quest once they're ready. Also quest for 3. Cool card. I love the art. The pose is really good with the explosion in the background and the rubble. I'm a big fan of stuff like coming at the screen or coming at the front of the card. Without the shift line, again, very expensive, 7 cost. Yes, it does at least immediately affect the board. Not only does it give everything resist, now stuff can go in a challenge. Although you could argue resist on your own characters kind of is antithetical to them getting banished in a challenge. So, I don't know. Kind of a weird card. I would like to try it. I don't know where this goes, though. Diablo. They just love Diablo, don't they? So he's essentially Mr. Smee as long as you have a villain in play, which I would assume if you're playing this, you're building around him. Villains can't... I don't know how relevant the second one is. I mean, it means they have to deal with the Diablo first. I don't know. There's so many villains, so I'm not sure who you're like protecting with this. But it does make him like kind of annoying bodyguard where they have to deal with him first. I mean, I don't know who the villains are you played this with, but if there is a villain you naturally would want to play on 1 or 3, this seems like a slam dunk kind of card for a steel deck. Talked about arrows. If an opposing character was banished in a challenge this turn, draw 2 cards. It actually does give you card advantage. That's really funny art. This poor guy, he's having a bad day. So you challenge something, you just play this, and you draw 2. It's kind of like Better Friends in that sense, other than it's not generic. You do still have to be able to banish something, and specifically has to be in a challenge. That's a little annoying. Can't just be spot removal. That's a neat idea. Touch the Sky. Then draw cards equal to that location's lore. Is there any location with more than 3 lore? I think it's just the counting house, right? No, I don't want that. Let's take a moment to type locations. I don't think there's any location that naturally has more than 2 lore. So essentially you're saying drawing 2. Unless you happen to be at the counting house and it's been boosted a lot to where it has extra lore. Which means you're now playing red, ruby, steel, which we know how good that deck is. Still, it's a cool idea. I like the idea of, you move someone there, and then boom, then you get to draw 4 cards. That's a cool idea. Plunger Crossbow. Okay, so it's just permanent cycle. That's not terrible. It's inkable, at least. It's a bit expensive. But it's cool you can repeat it. Maybe some kind of Sapphire Steel deck that can afford to use that ink. Sapphire Steel has so many scry effects as is already, though. The remote. It looks dangerously close to the Ravensburger of villainous art. Might almost be the exact same too if I'm not crazy. I'm gonna look this up really quick. Disney villainous. No, that's not what I wanted. Disney villainous. What is a villainous wiki? He's in Bigger Badder. Syndrome. If you don't know what this is a board game called Villainous where you play as different villains trying to get your objectives. Here's his remote art. Okay, it is a bit different. Yeah, here it's like this image of it. I guess it's a remote on a wrist, so you're only going to get so much unique art out of it. Anyway, let's see. Can't challenge. 0 point. Yeah, that's appropriate. He like freezes them. Although technically, if you want to be really thematic, it should prevent them from doing anything. They can't challenge, they can't quest, they can't sing. It should just entirely freeze them on the spot. Ooh, that second effect sucks. A robot has to get banished, then you lose the item, then you throw your hand out, and then you draw 2 cards. So if a robot gets banished and you blow the item up, you become Doc, essentially. I mean, not terrible if your hand's empty, right? It is also, it's actually something you can do on your opponent's turn. You could do it on your turn as well, but like if your hand's empty, they kill one of your robots, you go, all right, I'm breaking the remote, I'm going to draw 2 cards. Maybe there's something there. Kind of sucks it's unequal. I do like the 0 point energy that you can just use that over and over again. Yeah, if the robots are good enough, but again, I just don't think the robots are there yet. All right, Club Door. Fat Cat and Play. You play it for free. Free item. That's kind of interesting. I don't know how relevant that will be, but that is an interesting idea. And you block all the little guys who can't afford to pay. And his location's fine. I wonder if this could have been a 2 cost, and then it's just straight power creep over old the 2 cost 6 health cards because of that extra lore. But game's getting power crept anyway. Again, the bodies are going up, so if the bodies are going up, it kind of makes more sense. Locations get stronger. And what is this one? Robot characters. Okay, so if you want to go in on the robot theme, maybe I'll just have to try a robot theme, see if I can make it work with Syndrome. Once during your turn, whenever a character banishes another character in a challenge, you can deal 2 damage. So you have to specifically banish them, but then you do get an additional ping, and then they obviously will have more strength, and it's a cheap move cost at least. Wouldn't mind if this had maybe at least 7 health. It's an interesting idea. Maybe I'll have to try to build a robot list, see if there's anything there. And that is it. That is all 204 cards. Everything else should just be epics and enchanteds, and let's do a quick little sweep over the enchanteds just to go for the art. Point out my favorites on a first viewing. Epics are pointless. Don't care about those. Jessie looks good. I like the background of Isabella. I don't care about this character. Friend and Me is fine. Yeah, it's fine. Frozone's pretty cool. I like you can see the frozen parts of the Omni Droid. I don't really care for this Louisa one. It's a little small, I think. I like that it's like the painted imagery in the back, but I don't know. That's not very exciting. Alien. He's kind of cute. He's alright. Milo's is not very interesting. This one's kind of cool. I like Family Scattered. Jack's is okay. I don't think Leviathan's looks that great. Wasn't he underwater? I feel like he should be in the water. Mr. Incredibles is okay. I like that he's big front and center, but I don't know. This motion isn't very appealing to me. Zipper gotten enchanted? Wow, that's funny. That's okay. Kita's is just pretty striking. I like this pose. I like the energy coming from the hand. She's a little tiny. I wouldn't mind her being a little bigger. I guess this isn't technically Isabella, but it feels like Isabella's on way too many cards. That was such... Man, I don't know. That was such a forgettable character for me in that film. I often forget she's even in there. Syndrome's is interesting. I like the pose. I like the arm coming forward. I like these. I don't love his face. And I know Syndrome's kind of a dorky guy anyway. But I don't love his little toothy grin there. I wouldn't have minded something a little more menacing. Mrs. Incredibles is pretty good. I like that her limbs are like super stretched out. It's kind of funny. It looks like Bob and Frozen are getting like choked in the background, and she's just like taking the time to pose. Touch the Sky. That's okay. It's kind of generic. Buzz's is, I like his pose. I like the forward foot in the hand. I wish it was a little bigger. He's a little small. Oh, these are the iconics, aren't they? It's a crime Buzz has an iconic and not Woody. It should have been Woody. It should have been Woody and Buzz. Like, I don't know why Merida's on here. And this isn't even that great looking, I don't think. So anyway, all right, that's a review. I appreciate you watching. If you're watching later on YouTube, feel free to skip like the parts. I'll try to edit a little bit of it down. Illuminary Tunnels gets more lore for each location. Hungry for lore says. Oh, okay. Let's look that one up really quick. That does sound familiar now. Illuminary Tunnels. Pay one less. Oh, okay, yeah, interesting. And Touch the Sky is a steel card. Okay, maybe there's something there. Yeah, because Touch the Sky could potentially draw you a lot of cards. Thank you for pointing that out. I was catching up on my Twitch chat. Also, White Agony Plains for each character there. White Agony Plains. You have a good memory for these locations. Well done. Let's look that one up. White Agony Plains. This location gets one. Okay, so you'd have to do Emerald Steel. Interesting. But there are multiple. Man, if you could draw 3 with that Touch the Sky, especially when you have to pay for it, like that's going to feel pretty good. Interesting. You might be onto something there, Hungry for Lore. Maybe I'll have to experiment, see what I can come up with that. That's a cool idea. Good location memory. All right. I believe that's it. Appreciate you watching on Twitch, YouTube, all that. Let me know which cards you like or didn't like, and if I missed any combos, because that's the only thing I don't like about doing all of these at once is that your brain starts to turn to mush, and you just, because you're reading card after card after card, like it kind of ebbs and flows. But you know, that's part of it. So I appreciate you watching so much. Feel free to leave your comments, like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Let me know what your favorite cards are, and until next time, take care. Bye. And end stream on YouTube.